Hello, good evening and welcome. You're through to Zaza, the inappropriate quilter tonight. Thanks for joining me. And I'm just going to say hello to everybody. And as usual, Michelle's first. Welcome, Michelle. Hi. And Joy Talita's close in second place. She was in early. Hi, Joyty. Hi, Danelle. Hi, Brian. Hi, Melissa. You're all saying hello to each other. Hi, Sheila. Hello, Dawn. Hi, Heather. Heather dropped the final month of her Spectacle of Scraps quote today, but I think you can still sign up for it for free, but don't quote me on that. But if you email the debt-free quilter and our emails on our YouTube channel, you'll get all the details there. But it's been a really good sew along. I like the fact that you've got a lot of freedom with it. I don't normally like sew alongs, but I've enjoyed doing that one, even though I'm behind. And Joe's in the house, Vintage Style by Joe. Savannah's here. Hi, Savannah. Mary G's in the house. And I say that every week, Mary G's in the house. I don't say it to anybody else. I don't know why I say that, but I always do. Hi, Melissa. I think I don't know if that's a different Melissa or not. I'm not scrolling all the way back up to check. Yes, it is a different Melissa. Hello, Melissa and Melissa. Good evening and welcome. Hi, Gladys. Welcome in. Hi, Ellen. Regina's in the house. K Money Quilting. Where's Regina? Everybody's saying hello to everybody else. Heather says anyone who emails her from now to March 31st can still get the pattern for free. So that's good to know. And that's me up to date. So good evening, welcome. I'm completely disorganized today, just for a change. Those of you that know me know that that's quite normal for me. And I've just lost the template that I had just found a second ago. I was out at a craft de-stash thing today, which although it wasn't a waste of time, it kind of was a waste of time. I think I made £20. What's that? $26. But I did get rid of a lot of stuff. And a lot of it was going to donate anyway. So stuff that I didn't sell, I donated quite a bit then to the art club because that's where it was. And some of my crafty friends that were there. So I was out all day at that. And then when I came back, I was shattered and my back was really sore. So I'm sitting here with a hot water bottle at my back to keep me going. Hi, Grace. Yes, Grace, welcome. Yes, you caught the live. So tonight, scissor case. Now, I'm really hoping it's in here because I didn't check. Yes, it is. This is a needle case that was from Elise Beck. You could do an English paper piece, and I have got an English paper piece one, but you could also just sew it and quilt it, and it's great because it's got pockets and the needle book bit, and it's got little flaps you could put clips on. But I made this little scissor keeper to go with my embroidery scissors to keep them. I'm quite impressed with my pattern matching on that. I don't know if you can see it on the front of the pocket. And it is actually this is made with fabrics from this range. But excuse me, I've got hiccups. I did look out the scissor fabric tonight to make this, and I did cut out a big template. I did draw a big template yesterday for this, which I've since lost. So I'll show you, this is the template that I used to make this case. And I actually thought maybe it's a good thing I lost it, because I'll show you how I made the template, and then you could make one to fit any pair of scissors, because that's what I like about it. So just get my sewing set in. My inspiration came from this scissor case here that I got in a sewing set from my sister many moons ago, from Cath Kidston, which was a UK company. And that was my inspiration for this. But you see the back's got a pair of scissors as well on it. You can see that properly. I'll hold it up. So what I might do is what I did last week and cut the big camera where you see me so that you can see this better. And then, as I say, it's the same fabric and the range that I've been using. But here's the first 2 needle books that I made that are English paper pieced and quilted. So this one's made out of, what size of hexagons is this? I think they're 1 inch. No, they're 3/4 inch hexagons. You see it better from the back. But this one, I've put extra things in. I did half a thing of half hexagons here on the front of the pocket for clips to go on. I've got magnetic needle minders that fit, and I've got a little bit to show you where to put them, and another pocket. So that's that one. I'm just showing you these now. And this one's made of 1/2 inch hexagons that I sort of fussy cut out of the fabric. So there's little scissors and spools of thread and different things. But I tried to get something in each 1/2 inch hexagon. And that one I actually use. It's got little flowers as a needle minder, which are made from 3/8 hexagons, so they're quite small. Can you see that okay? That way. And this has the cutest pair of little snips. Look, it's a hound, and you all know how I feel about hounds. And they're just tiny little thread snips. But the bit that holds the snips is a hound's head. And that's got the strip across from the smaller hexagons as well to put clips on. So I just thought I'd quickly show you those before we move on. And Amy's in the house. Hi, Amy. Good evening and welcome. Thank you for saying that. And so Terry's in the house. Said hello to Sheila. I don't think I've missed anybody. If I have missed you, I really must apologise. It's not intentional. Deb's in the house. Welcome, Deb. Why can't I see Deb? I can see everybody saying hello to Deb, but I can't see Deb. Where's Deb? That's bizarre. Yes, I see Deb now. What was going insane there? And there's another Terry. We've got 2 Terrys and 2 Melissas in tonight. And Nancy's here. Hi, Nancy. How are you? So I'm going to show you how I make these needle minders. And it is actually quite simple. What to do? I'm going to do it for these scissors. These are Karen K. Buckley scissors. I love her scissors because they've got one smooth blade and one blade is micro serrated. And it's great if you're cutting fabric because it stops it fraying. It's like mini pinking shears is how it works. Hi, Nikki. welcome. Good to see you. I hope you're feeling better. So these actually come with a sheath on the blade because they're quite lethal with the point. But I'll show you how you could make a case to fit these. And I had actually made the template, but I've lost it, which is the story of my life. So what I did, and I used a compass, but you could just use anything. I'm going to kill this big feed so that you can see the smaller one better. There, that's better. And you could just find things that you've got circles, you know, dishes, bottoms of cups, glasses, mugs, anything like that, that's the size you want. So what I did was I just made, they're 3 inches across. No, they're not, are they? The ruler the wrong way around. They're 3.5 inches across the handle. So if you want the handle to fit inside, kind of like these do, it needs to be more than 3.5 inches. So I will maybe go for 3 3/4. Can you see that okay? If I do that, then that's given a little bit of space on each side. So I want a circle that's 3 3/4. That couldn't be a worse size for splitting it in two. My maths is not the best. That's 1.5 and half with 1 3/4. It's 1 7/8, I think. I'll go for that and we'll see. So I'm going to get my circle and I'm going to make it 1 7/8. Because with a compass it's half the size. And then we'll see what size circle we get. How about that? Now you might not see this line because it's quite faint, but it'll be big enough for me to draw, to see it, to cut out. So what size did I get from there? Where was my maths right? Yeah, I got 3 3/4. So that I did do all right. That was a surprise. So big circle at the top, and then you want to put the scissors down, and I want a little bit of space at the top, so I want to measure the length. And at this end, I want a small circle. And I probably want the circle to be 1.5 inches, so that's 3/4 of an inch. Ugh. I'll just nudge that there. There's the one. Right here. Yeah. So I'll go for 3/4 of an inch at this end. And I want the bottom of the circle to be about there. So I'm going to move the scissors out about there. We'll see how that goes. So it's highly technical. And Happy's in the house. Hi, Happy. Good evening. So you've got your 2 circles. This is where it gets really, really complicated. You just draw a line from one circle to the other circle. Like that. And same on this side. And that's your template. That's how easy it is. 2 circles and you join up. And I'll just check. Yes, the scissors will fit in that template. And for the front, I usually cut one out, draw around it, and then cut another one out and cut it short to make the front. Because if you're going to fussy cut, that makes it easier. Hi, Robin. Good evening. Welcome. Robin's in my EPP group. I was just showing off my needle book, my needle cases that I made. I think you made some too. Because I made a scissor keeper to go with it. So, and can you see that? It's quite faint. I'll hold it up to the camera. And see, that's the 2 circles. It's like a sort of funny safety pin, it looks a bit like. And I'm going to cut that out, not with these scissors, with my paper scissors. And you probably want to draw this on something maybe a little bit thicker than paper. If you're going to make a few pairs, do it on a cereal box or something. And that'll help. Sheila, you and me both, my brain was not prepared for maths either. It's been a long day. And when it's been a long day, and it's late here, I can't do maths. I don't want those paper scissors, they're too big. I'll take these scissors. I'm just going to cut this out. And that's gone a bit wonky, but it's all right. It's just as a guide to draw around. This one, I actually, you see it's quite stiff. I kept the papers in this and just folded the fabric over. Put a little bit of thin, I think it's felt I used actually to give it a little bit of padding. But I kept the paper in to make it a bit rigid. But you could use template plastic, or what I also do, because I'm frugal is the nice term, or thrifty, is if I get packaging and it's got the rigid plastic on the front, on the box, I take that off and use that for templates, the clear plastic. After COVID, the seam allowance can be whatever you want, Grace, because I haven't drawn the seam allowance in this. When I cut it out, I'm going to cut out the seam allowance. And probably with this, you'd want bigger than a 1/4 inch. I would maybe go 5/8, 3/8 or 1/2 inch, 3/8. 3/8 or 1/2 inch seam allowance for this. But the template doesn't have the seam allowance in it. I'm going to draw on the fabric and then cut it out with the seam allowance. I just haven't got to that bit yet. The trick will be making a case for the compass without using the compass to trace the compass. Brian, it's far too late at night here for that nonsense. That's just fried my brain. All the animal lovers here will get this. Everybody knows. I know we say that dogs have 4 legs, but everybody knows that dogs have 2 arms and 2 legs because they've got hips and knees and shoulders and elbows. So does this really fried my brain? Does that mean they've still got 4 feet? And if they've got 4 feet and not 2 hands and 2 feet, does that mean they've got toes on their... If they've got 2 hands and 2 feet, does that mean they've got toes on their hands? Or have they got 4 feet and got feet on the end of their arms? So that's thoroughly confused you now. So do dogs have 4 feet and feet on the end of their arms? Or do they have hands and feet and then have toes on the end? And I think that's why we just say they have paws. But that fried my brain when somebody heard that. And that my drawing around this template's got a bit wonky. But you can see, and I'll cut out another one for the front. So for this, as I say, I would go at least 3/8, probably half an inch seam allowance. English paper piecing, your seam allowance tends to be 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch are the two main seam allowances that you get on templates that you can buy. And I cut the bottom of that side squint. So when I draw it out, I will take that into account. Really, this side is going to be the front, and it's more about getting the measurement right if you want to fussy cut. So get rid of that extra paper. So that's your 2 halves. And the one for the front, how far up do I want the front to go? Because you want to be able to grab the scissors out. So probably, I would say probably about there. I'm just going to draw a line across, and that line's not straight, it's at an angle. I'm going to measure down from, I'm going to fold it in half, that's what I'm going to do. You see, you're learning how Zaza does things on the hoof. Fold it in half. Probably should have drawn the line down the middle, but I'm going to fold it on this one. Fold it in half. It's only paper. If the fold bothers you, you can almost iron it out. Yes, you can't iron your papers. So fold it in half, and then I will be able to line up the mark with the ruler. You can't see the fold line, but I can see the fold line. And that was way off the mark. Look at that. Look how squint that was. See the bottom one, how squint it was. So you can see the fold line. And I folded it in half. So then I was able to line the ruler up, mark on the ruler with that mark so it's straight. And I'm just going to cut that off. And then I'll see, oh, not those scissors, not those scissors, panic. See, that's right, Deb, that's exactly right. Is Mike Wazowski winking or blinking at you? We nearly got kicked out of the most magical place on earth when Evie was 7. Because Mike Wazowski got too close, freaked her out, and she poked him in the eye. And his carer was not that still squint. Look straight. So that's what she did. She poked him in the eye. I'm going to draw that line so I can see it. Just keeping it real for you all so that you can see how not to do it. So yeah, that was a very Evie thing to do. Poke Mike Wazowski in the eye. See, it's still squint. But this is why it's good to draw it out on a piece of paper first so that you can, before you get anywhere near cutting your fabric. Right, straight now. So that will go there. It will go like that. And I'll still be able to get my scissors out. And when I cut this out, I've got green scissor fabric or pink scissor fabric. And I think I'm going to go with the pink today because I think I've got, maybe got more of that. Don't know, we'll see. I probably won't. I'm going to do, you might not see this, but I can see through here. This is where if you had a light box, because this has got a grey background. Yes, you can just see the edge. So I'm just going to roughly line that up and put a couple of registration marks on. But these scissors are quite small, so I can kind of do what I want. I want the little ones or the big ones. What do you think? The little scissors or the... Which scissors do you think? It was Heather that said that, not Deb. See, my brain's fried tonight. When I looked at the debt-free quilter, I saw DEB and saw Deb. Well, that's what I'm saying, Nikki. See, that's why they went with pause, because the hands and feet business just... My daughter went to a haunted forest. It was in the park for the kids. Nothing creepy. Clifford the big red dog was there and she freaked. How old was she, Nikki? It'll be for the front, Sheila. I want to know how old Nikki's daughter was when she freaked. Oh, first grade, that's okay. My kids loved Clifford the big red dog. I thought you were going to say she was like 18 or something. So everybody thinks that we should have these scissors on the front. So we probably want it lined up so that these scissors sit nicely in the middle on the front, like that. Is that correct? That's what you're thinking? Right in the middle. You're going to see bits of the gold ones. If we did it with the gold on the front, you're going to have bits of the red and green or pink and green. I think they're nicer scissors. Yes, that's what I was thinking, Sheila. I agree. The smaller ones on the front and the bigger ones on the back. We're not going to get these finished tonight. I'm just showing you how to make the templates tonight and how I go about doing it. To make sure that this isn't squint now, I'm going to line this up on my board and I'm going to get a bit washi tape and stick it to the board so it doesn't shift under the fabric. Hi Brenda, good evening, welcome. If anybody else has come in and I have missed you, I do apologise. Well, Evie never liked, you know, when you see kids and they go and sit on Santa's knee, she hated strangers and I never ever made her. People are like, oh, you should just make her go up. She's got to get over that fear. I'm like, no, I think it's quite healthy to be afraid of this weird man in a red suit. And if she doesn't like it, she doesn't like it. I'm not going to make her do something like that. So I'm going to turn this. Now I've stuck it down just to be awkward. I'm going to turn it this way so that it's easier for me to see it lined up. And that's right bang smack in the middle of the paper. And I'm going to draw a line there. And a line there. And I probably should use my friction pen for this so I can iron it off. Maybe we'll move it along. Now the damn thing's moved. Do you know what? Back round. Stick that this way. Stick it down there. Right. I'm going to go with like that. I think is where I want it. And I'm going to draw the line there and draw the line there. And then I'm going to stick this back and start again. That looks, I'm not measuring it, I'm just going to go by how it looks. It looks roughly in the middle to me. I'm going to draw a line down that side and a line down that side. Well, when you think about it, it's a bit freaky, a big giant rabbit. And in real life, if you actually, as an adult, saw a big giant rabbit, you'd be off. You wouldn't be like, oh, look, let's go and speak to this weird thing. You'd be like, ah. Often with kids, it's their gut instinct that freaks them out about things like that. And as adults, that's what is going to save your life in weird situations, is your gut saying to you, this isn't right, get out of here. So I do kind of think, really, we shouldn't say to them, no, that's wrong. So this one, I'm going to use the same bits of tape. We want these to line up, roughly. And because the pattern's big enough, it'll actually be quite easy to get it to match. Like here, when you take the scissors actually line up on the pocket, and so for this, I'm going to mark the edge of the scissors, the edge of the blade, the edge of these scissors where it comes on, and the edge here and here to give me sort of registration marks, so that for this one, I'm going to stick it over the top. And I can see those marks through the paper. She says. Probably what I should have done was I should have cut the big one first and then lined up the bottom one. That's the way to do it, is cut the back piece first, measure the back piece. Put it right at the green dot there. The marks lining up there and there. So those pieces should roughly line up. So I'm going to draw right there and down here and down here, because you've got the lip from the edge of the pattern. And here. But yes, don't do like me. Do the big piece first and then match the front to that. Sometimes my brain does things back to front. And for the seam allowance, I'm going to measure I've got a thing, me Bob, in here. But you can just use a ruler. And if I say 1/2 inch, it's got a space in the middle. I can go around and just mark at 1/2 inch. Dots the whole way round. Move that out so I can get my pen in. And 1/2 inch. And 1/2 inch. And that's where I'll cut. And that gives me a bit extra space to play with. I don't think I've got 1/2 inch at the top, but I've got enough. Well, maybe, no, 3/8 at the top. That'll need to do. It'll be enough. Close enough. But you could use a a print that's not directional, that's not got a specific pattern on it. And that would be easy. You just cut out the pieces. Slap them down anywhere. You wouldn't have any matching to do. You wouldn't have any fussy cutting. It's only because I've decided I'm going to make things awkward for myself and fussy cut this that I had to do it like this. But you don't have to do that. You could use a nice all over print. Hi, Mona. I'm making a scissor case. Scissor keeper. And I'm showing everybody how I do the pattern for it. This came out Scary Place, Zaza's, back of Zaza's brain at midnight on a Saturday night. So that's, and then you just draw the dots. All done dot to dot. You can do them closer or further away, but that's more than enough room. Now you will need interfacing on this of some sort. You can either use the card and stick the card in. You could use a bit template plastic, or you could use some fairly stiff interfacing. But for a pair of, or you could quilt it. You could quilt it and then do all this. I'm not going to quilt it, but that's an option, is to quilt it and then mark out. Now this one will need a back sewn onto it because there's two sides on the scissor keeper. I don't know where I shoved them there. This has actually got fabric both sides and it's got a bit of interfacing in it so the scissors wouldn't poke through if because they're fairly sharp. So I am going to make this bit here bigger and then I'll join another piece of fabric on. So when you look in the top, it looks like it's the same piece. I'm not going to cut along there and join the bits. And if you didn't understand that, that's okay. That kind of makes two of us. Oh, Mona's been playing Wordle. Wordle? No, I don't do Wordle. Quite like word games, but I don't like Wordle. I think because that reminds me of COVID. That was when Wordle got big, wasn't it? Around about COVID. I don't know, it was quite a big thing, Wordle, but I didn't like it. Um, Brain fart. That's what I've had. I've had a brain fart. Oh, joy to please backgammon. So that would kind of go like this is your shape for the front. So you've got the two pieces. And then you measure down. And if I had a full fat quarter, I would have just used the full piece. But I don't. So I'm going to have to join the fabric on the bottom. And that's going to be on the inside, so that's not getting matched. I'm just going to cut a piece of fabric and stitch it on. And be damned. Right. Join up these dots. And I need to draw out the back. There. And we need one more full piece for the back. And for that, we're going to go for the gold scissors. And I've lost my template. So gold scissors. So I'll stick this. I've lost a bit of tape. How did I lose a bit of tape? Oh. Brain is absolutely fried today. Just fried. What did with that tape? Yeah. See, fried. Brain fried. Angry Birds. I used to like playing Angry Birds. Siege Hero played that too. Sheila's playing Candy Crush. How dare you, Sheila? You're supposed to be paying attention to me. Give me your undivided attention. Not playing Candy Crush. And I hope I didn't miss anybody else coming in, because I kind of miss Mona coming in. But I don't think so. Good night, Heather. That was ages ago. I'm sorry, I missed that. She's away off looking after her many minions. Right. Now, I might just fit this in like this and I'll get two gold scissors on the back. But because of the size of the piece of fabric I've got, I'm not going to be able to centre it on the back like that. I'd have to have a join, and I'm not wanting to do that. So if I laid it out there, I would get the full scissors in half set. And I think that's what we'll do. What does everybody think of that? Duck Hunt on Nintendo. You're going back a bit there, Mona. I used to like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot on PlayStation when my kids were wee. I had to help them. But I could play Tetris for hours. Right, does everybody think that's the bit to go for? Nikki thinks it looks good. Saying hi to Joe. Yep, Sheila, is a blast from the past, isn't it? So I'm just going to go with that. And I got about half an inch. Yeah, look, I've got about half an inch. That's about perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So I'm going to cut out a piece of that thick interfacing I've got. I think it's actually meant for making pelmets for curtains. Don't know what you call them in America. You know when you can make them, they can either be ruffled like the curtain or they can be like a box and it covers the gubbins at the top of your curtains so you don't see the curtain track or anything. Or as it's also a sarcastic name for a very short skirt. My dad used to say, where do you think you're going in that? It's like a pelmet. Yes, the wee was good fun. Good family fun. So I need to do the dots all the way around. And then I'll cut this out and I'll cut out the interfacing and then I'll stitch it up next week. Not sewing anything with my brain like this tonight, because guaranteed there will be lots of mistakes. But I hope you kind of understood how I did that and how easy it is to make your own to fit any pair of scissors without just being folding a square that kind of looks a bit more tailored, I think is the word, with a bit of thought going into it. Fancy pants. Birds outside, that's weird because it's late and it's dark. It's way off, way off. So I will cut all the pieces out and then I'll show you how to put it together next week. And I'll show you the interfacing in a minute. I don't know what number it is, but it's really thick interfacing. It's almost like felt, but stiff. And I'll just use ordinary interfacing on the front, the short piece. But the stuff I've got that I'm going to use for the back is this, and it's, you can see it's thick. Actually, I might use that on the front as well. Yes, I will. Because it's not like it's getting turned. This was the stuff that I used when I made the first hexagon bowl, and it was too thick. I couldn't turn the bowl the right way around. Hi, Katie. Welcome in. You're seeing me how the scary bit of Zaza's brain works. A scary place to go in my brain. So I'm just going to draw around, move all this stuff out the way. I nearly said a bad word there. Stopped myself in time. So I'm going to draw around this one. This is, it's gone off the edge of the table. This is adhesive on one side. And then the other side isn't, so I should have done it like that, shouldn't I? They're not going to, they're both going to fit that. Yeah, they will fit that way. I'm going to do it that way. That makes more sense. Yeah. Now you understand why. Hi, June, welcome in. You understand why I'm not sewing it tonight when you see where my brain's going. But I did get some shopping this week arrived, some much anticipated Tilda, the new collection arrived this week. I've got that to show you in a second. And I really like it. It's one of the nicest collections that I've got. But I think at the moment, Hibernation is still my favourite Tilda one. I like Hibernation a lot. But I'm only going to cut, I'm not cutting out interfacing for the front and the back, I don't think. That might change by next week. Actually, I think it will change. I think I will just cut one out for the front and the back. Make it sturdy. Fiddle. There, that's a better F word to use, isn't it, than the one that was going to come out my mouth. So see, it's changing as I go, but I've got 2 pieces of interfacing for the full pieces of fabric on the front and back. The big size pieces, we need 2 pieces of fabric that size, and I've cut out 2 pieces of interfacing and 1 short piece of interfacing. That's what I need to cut out. I can cut that out with my fabric scissors if I want. Here's some other scissors that I used for, lost the scissors that I had, the white ones. Oh, they've fallen on the floor. Of course they have. Just roughly chop this out just now, so I'm not dealing with this roll. Seemed like a good idea at the time because it was so stiff to roll this up, so we'd end up with big creases in it. But see, trying to cut it when it's all rolled up is a nightmare. There, cut them off. Roll this back up. Every time I unroll it gets a bit bigger. So, June, everybody that's arrived late, I'm making a scissor keeper and showing you how to make a pattern so it can fit any size of scissors you've got, just and it'll fit the handles depending on what the handle size is. So I took, here's the bit, piece of paper, and I took my scissors and I measured the handles and decided that I wanted to give myself a little bit of space on each side. So I went for a 3 and 3, what did we say this? It was, again, 3 3/4 was what size of circle I drew. And then I drew a small circle at the bottom. That was 1.5 in diameter. So you can see here, I've got the 2 circles, small circle, big circle, and I just drew lines to join them up. That's the template for this piece here. And you need 2 pieces of fabric from this template, and then I cut out another piece, and I decided how much of the handle I wanted to see, and that's going to be the front pocket. So what I did was I used the card, I put it underneath, because you can see against the grey background, so that you can see that there, I think, just make out, so I could see where to draw, and so I could fussy cut it. So we've decided to have the gold scissors on the back of the template, and I'm going to have these scissors on the front pocket. And I'm going to cut this out next, and I've got the pieces of interfacing, and this is the stiff interfacing. For this little mini pair, I just used the cardboard template and left it inside because I thought I'm not going to wash them. So this bit on the front pocket's got interfacing in it, but this bit here's got the cardboard and a bit felt to make it slightly padded. I was quite impressed with my pattern matching on that. So it's going to be the same actually, just a bigger version with the pink scissors on the front and the gold scissors on the back. But you do want interfacing or something, because some of the scissors are really sharp and you don't want them to just poke right through. So that's all my pieces that I will cut out next week. And how is June doing? Yes, I saw Mona's video with her cats. Sheila says she's got that interfacing. Yes, well that's like me, Sheila. This was bought for a project in the house. And I can't, but it's quite handy for things. So I'm not going to, I'll cut these bits out. And I'll get everything cut out and I'll show you how to stitch it up next week. As I say, I'm not cutting this week. My brain just couldn't cope. But I will show you the pretty, pretty tilde that came. Shovel this out the road. But you can make those circles whatever size you want to fit different pairs of scissors. That's the beauty of doing it that way. So this is the tilde, this is the blenders, Songbird blenders. They're quite muted colours, but they're actually quite pretty. If you can see that okay in the light. I'm going to put another light on for you, just to make it a little bit brighter. Sorry for bumping the camera there. That's better, it's a bit brighter. So it's got quite a delicate floral, but it's not white, it's a sort of ecru beige colour with pinky red, that floral. And then there's that, I think that's an acanthus leaf that's on that, but it's quite pretty as well. But this is a set of the 12 blenders. That's the same as the first one, but the opposite way round. It's this pink with the ecru. And then that's it in the green, which is nice. And there's the green and pink. You see, on its own, I would never buy that. But as part of the set, I like it. There's the green. It's a different green. That's more a minty green. That's more a sagey green, I think. And then we're on to the blue. You can see the pattern. And there's the blue acanthus leaf. I think it's an acanthus leaf anyway. That's it. That way. I think it's an acanthus leaf. And then that's nice. I like that one. I think that's my favourite. That and the pink one. And then it's a sort of, it's not mustard, but it's not yellow. It's there. It's a sort of funny yellow. So that's the blenders. You get 12 of them in a set. And I got the buttons too. I always get the buttons when I get a set like that. And here is the pretty, pretty. Take this off. But this is a really pretty set. So that's that. No, yeah, it's that way. It's a floral. Because it's called Songbird. But they're really nice patterns. Has that one got people? No, that one's got birds, that one's got a person. It's very sort of Art Nouveau-ish, I think, with the circles and the designs, the women. There's one with lots of birds. If you don't like birds, do not get this. You'll be freaking out if you've got a thing about birds. When I tried to fix a Lazy Susan, all you did was bang it around. At least it's clean. Well, there is that. George says it's nice and cold in North Carolina at the moment, 32 degrees. I hope it's warmer next week. Mona's got her furnace on, heaters upstairs and in the basement. So, and then That one, I think that's carnations. They look like peonies, and peonies are my favourite flower. That way. It's that way. There's the bird. But that makes the peony look like it's upside down. There's the lady again with dragonflies. The blue. But it is a really pretty line. It'd be really nice fussy cut. I mean, that bird's gorgeous. And those flowers are gorgeous. I really like that. Even the dragonflies are nice. Well, she's got wings on. Look, I'll open it right up. She's dressed up. She's a fairy. She's got wings. I don't know if she's actually meant to be a real fairy or a fancy dress fairy. That's another pretty one. But it's really soft muted colours. I like it. It's a nice collection. That one. So that's because I wasn't going to buy any fabric, but I thought I'm not. That collection, the place that I got it from sold out of some of their pre-orders before it even arrived. Some of the collect stuff was sold out because Tilda only ever does one run. So the shops have to kind of guess what they want. They often open up their pre-orders and then they'll order X amount. And that's what Tilda base the run on, is how much orders they've got. And when it's gone, it's gone. So I always like to get in and get it if it's a collection that I like. Don't buy every collection. Some of them I don't like. And some of them I find I like the blenders more than I like the main collection. But this one I like. I think they're really pretty. I think that'll make a really nice quilt. But you'd want sort of decent size pieces, I think, not too small. But I think that would be really pretty in those colours. It's a nice mix of colour. Brian says the last one is his favourite. June's saying it's 36, feels like 26. Well, that's cold. Oh, hi, Tasha. Sorry, I didn't see you come in. Hello, hello. You just caught the tail end of us and seen me in my brain dead stupor tonight. So I haven't sewn anything. I'm getting ready for QuiltCon. I've been making things, printing things. Might take some of my magnets. I might print more of them, take some of them with me to give to people. I think they're quite... You see that okay? I'm a quilter. What's your superpower? I don't know if that's back to front or not. For you, fridge magnets. But I paused the 3D printer because you could hear it going as the thing goes backwards and forwards. It makes quite a racket. Who is the maker? It's Tilda. It's the new Tilda collection, Tilda Fabrics, and the line is Songbird. That's who it is, Grace. CS Grace. So I don't know if you prefer CS or Grace, but because I don't actually know if your name is Grace or not. But that's the Songbird by Tilda, who's a Swedish designer, I think, and it's made in Korea. And it says it actually tells you on the back, maximum shrinkage for this is 3%. So you get 20 fat quarters in the set and 12 in the blenders. And she seems to do that with every collection. There's 20 in the main set and 12 in the blenders. But I mean, you could buy it yardage. You don't have to buy sets. You can buy it however you like. But I usually buy a fat quarter bundle if I like the set. And that's enough, because that's 32 fat quarters. You can make a big quilt at 32 fat quarters. Sheila's saying she's Norwegian. I knew Scandinavian. That'd be a bit like saying to somebody that's Scottish, you're English. That's close, not close at all. And I think they're the same in Scandinavian countries. They're quite, feel like we do in Britain. Don't get your nationality muddled up within the UK. We don't mind being called British, but don't call us one of the other nationalities. So that's me tonight. I've got my cup of tea now, which is cold. I'm going to cut out the fabric pieces and cut out my interfacing, and next week I'll show you how quick and easy it is to put it all together. It really is easy. They're not hard. It's just my brain was not. My brain couldn't brain function tonight. See, my brain couldn't brain. Oh, maybe just as well you can't see my face and the faces that I'm pulling just now. So anyway, thank you everybody for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate you all coming in. I'll not keep you any longer. I think I need to go to bed because I'm brain dead. And see, can't think. So yes, I'll have the pieces all cut out for next week, and I'll show you how to assemble it and stitch it up. And hopefully next week I can speak and sew and my coordination's better. So good night, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Be appropriately inappropriate and make someone smile. Good night.